A what is the work of the Creator actually? It's trying to align the mind with the heart, and this is. Really, you know what Tan is all about. Tikkun is aligning oneself with the intention of the force of nature, and aligning is actually all of our work. So the whole force that we have here in this 10 why we are here today is actually to show all of you that behind the French African friends, there's English Africa, and behind English African friends, there's each and every one of you. So you know the hurdles that we have to overcome, that the Creator keeps placing in front of us. We can only hurdle them if we have unity between us, and this force that of unity that we have will really make us like gold medalists in the Olympics, and we be able to do anything and go forward if we stay united. So let us really take this intention into the morning lesson of being united and being helping each other so that we can go forward. Let's ask Petitiffer to read us the prepare the excerpt for the preparation. Grabish writes, also we were given the path of faith, which is above reason, namely not to take our sensations and reason into account, but say as it is written, they have eyes and see not, they have ears and hear not. Rather, we should believe that the Creator is certainly the overseer, and he knows what is good for me and what is not good for me. Therefore, he wants me to feel my state as I do, and for myself, I do not care how I feel myself, because I want to work in order to bestow. Therefore, the main thing is that I need to work for the Creator, and although I feel that there is no wholeness in my work, still, in the vessels of the Upper One, meaning, from the perspective of the Upper One, I am utterly complete. As it is written, the outcast will not be cast out from him. Hence I am satisfied with my work, that I have the privilege of serving the King even at the lowest degree. That too I regard as a great privilege, that the Creator has allowed me to come closer to him at least to some degree. Active or question, how will we bring contentment to the Creator during the lesson? Again, how will we bring contentment to the Creator during the lesson? Rise above that state. Silent workshop question. Let us enter the lesson out of a strong desire to bring contentment to the Creator. Again, let us enter the lesson out of a strong desire to bring contentment to the Creator. Friends, in the first part of the lesson, but watch recorded lesson from the 29th of July 2002 based on the Article 3 prayers. You can find the article in the Study Materials tab. We read it together in the 10. We have 23 minutes for that. And now friends, we will go to a lesson of RAM from the date 29th of July 2002. We've read an article from the portion, the weekly portion Balak as per usual, from the ranks of the latter page 187. 3 are called a prayer. What does it mean 3 are called a prayer? It's about there being 3 prayers. The prayer of Moses, the prayer David, and the prayer for the poor, meaning 3 requests were all in all of a person's requests, whether he knows it or not, in various situations, whichever they may be or are. They can only be one of the 3, each one of those either for Moses or for David or for the poor, and the request that's truly effective, bringing a person forward in the most effective way, is the request of the poor. He feels that he is lacking, he has nothing. He sees that the first days were better than these days of now, meaning that his state is worse now. Worse meaning he sees his qualities as being worse. It's not necessarily that he suffers from this. If he understands that this is how it should be, he's glad of it. But this sentence, where he sees that the first days were better than the days of now, this might actually bring him happiness. And so the poor is first in line, meaning this lack of the prayers of David and the prayers of Moses. It's actually the lack of the poor which comes first, influences a person's advancement, and comes first by order. And indeed what we need is to first focus all the impressions from the states in which a person feels, who he is, what he is, his qualities, his characteristics, to focus them all into a lack which would be called a prayer for the poor. In short, this is a person asking for corrections. Poor, destitute. What does it mean? Destitute. He lacks corrections, as in this world, corresponding to root and branch in this world, who is poor. one who has no money. Kes in Hebrew from the word kesufer, a covering, a screen. When there is a screen, then there's no problem to receive, to pay, and to receive whatever he wants. And so reaching such a lack where one lacks isn't fulfillments in order to receive, but rather the force of restriction and coverings. The desire for that is called the desire of the poor, but the prayer of the poor is when a person already feels that he is immersed in self-love and wants to come out of his state, meaning that the prayer should be founded on several clear discernments already. Who am I compared to what I want to be, and for this gap to be such that it breaks my heart, that I might truly ask, where all the other conditions in my current situation I don't care about them. I don't care about them in comparison with this parameter that I want, replace, changed. God bless. I feel good. It's hot and dry. I have food. I have respect, money, security for the future. Various things which a person, health and everything. But one thing I lack, and because of that I feel poor. I feel my poverty really is as being total. I have nothing. These always gave the example of a woman. Usually a woman's closet and a man's closet. My wife, it's an entire room, her closet. You could say mine is somewhere. They're in the corner where I sleep. And if you ask her, she'll still say what? I have nothing to wear. I have nothing. That is the lack. The neuter for the female. Just like that. Meaning, you have everything but nothing. You feel you have nothing. Why? The main thing, which now appears to be the main thing. You don't have that. And because of that, everything else doesn't cover for it. It's all worthless. That is the feeling. There's nothing you can do about it. That's how a person feels. Meaning, you don't need to lose all of your assets and be thrown to the bottom rungs of society. It's the feeling of poverty, being poor in spirituality, because that is what you want to attain. It needs to be such that feeling that everything else doesn't count. That's one thing. The other thing is you know more or less that you know more or less what you want, meaning. What are you? How are you poor? We have states where simply I feel I have nothing. What do you want? I don't know what I want, but I feel bad. This is not a prayer yet because I don't know what I'm demanding it. It needs to be a clear request, clear knowledge regarding what to ask for, meaning the lack, the sensation of the lack, fine. But the vessel of the lack, it needs to be clear to me, to its full depth, all four discernments of it, so I'll know exactly what I want. Otherwise, I will get no response, no reply. And the third thing is that I'll turn to the right place, where what I want exists. That I won't go to tree or wood storage if I want to get flour. So I also need to scrutinize who to turn to, that he has what I want, and he wants to give it also, that it's part of his plan. And then there's this click between the giver and the receiver, because it's both in the desire of the giver and that of the receiver, and the quality and quantity of the thing they agree about. There's an agreement, and then it's clear it has to be exactly equal, like when you have one hole, another hole, and you need to, let's say, insert a stick between the two holes, so exactly aligned perfectly, not where on it's exactly aligned. You understand, it has to be exactly perfect. So that is exactly the feeling. So here also we have all these conditions, and then it is called a prayer, giving a prayer for the poor of the poor. But of course it's not Moses or David. It's sort of luxury beyond that, to know what's wrong with me and to come with it as a demand for correction. That is clear. I mean, that's possible. But how can I know what I want from him so that he will help me, that I already don't understand? I can know what's wrong with me, that yes. No, you don't. Ask him, help me in this way or in that way. You don't say, I want money. How much do I need? 2,000 shekels. This will be enough for me. It'll give me everything I need. I know what I need and what I'll do with it. Right. So I ask something clearly defined of him, and I don't care how that money will be given to me, through maybe a courier or straight into the bank we're in, a letter, a check. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. I don't intervene with his business, how he does it. That's how his office does things. Understand I agree with these things. That's his part. I know what I need to receive. You understand it also applies. It's also in what way to receive. But that relates to the form of reception. It belongs to my vessel, but not how he does that. The creator, that the lower one doesn't know. He just concedes that he doesn't even want to know. If you lack something, then what you lack is what you need to be filled by that lack, and not how. You don't mind how he will do it. Why do I care? Doctors say they can heal me. I'm fine. Go ahead. You're welcome. I'm yours. Do whatever you want to me. I don't intervene. They're with his knowledge, and what he'll do, I don't know. Sometimes it is explained, but that's corruption. It's used for psychological needs here in our world, but it's completely it doesn't relate to the receiver. This topic isn't clear to me. If a person now feels the lack, he feels that he's immersed in self-love. Now you're saying that it's not enough for him to know this lack. It's not enough for him to feel it. He needs to know that the creator can correct this lack for him. He needs to know why he's in self-love, and he needs to know what he will do when they correct his self-love. How can you even know these things? How can I know what I will do when they correct it for me? I'm not there at all. I have no criteria for it. Nothing. A person is not demanded to know anything beyond his vessel. But if you ask for corrections and fulfillments, then you need to know exactly what those corrections and fulfillments that you'll have are. Otherwise, it doesn't mean that you ask. It's not called a lack. A request means that you scrutinize it exactly and you know what it is. Unless you're on the degree of a baby, or the degree of an embryo, or the degree of the small, then the requests are proportionate to the level, right? The spiritual level called an embryo, in that a person annals himself, and he doesn't intervene at all in whatever comes to him. He just wants to be adhered. That's it. But also just being adhered. There are many degrees to that. It's the 9 months of conception, and all the coarseness, all the thoughts, all the confusions and disruptions that come to him above them. He remains adhered, and by that he grows. He adds more and more lacks to himself. If a person has the same general lack, he feels that he's working in such a state. He feels that it's not good for him is self-love. He feels that he's stuck inside the ego. He does not have the ability to. It's to feel that I'm in the ego and I feel bad about it. That's nothing. Look, there are many people in the world who feel that they are egoists and it's bad. They feel bad about it. It's just a person who is a little bit more developed. He watches TV, for example. He sees how people are dying in various disasters. They're starving to death, and he can feel that he doesn't care at all. They write about it in the newspapers. That people care about nothing. So, there's someone who doesn't care. He writes about that. So, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a person who studies here, follows the path, wants to reach something else, wants to reach that spirituality. I wanted to say that in you saying that, I'm an egoist, you didn't say anything special. This is knowledge that many people have. When I explain it to everyone in a lecture, everyone agrees. Why do they care? In truth, they feel this is rational. This is acceptable, reasonable. You see how the body functions, how everything in us functions, that it's truly all within the bounds of self-love. How from this place, from a point where I also want to reach a place called spirituality, where I don't know exactly what it is, but apparently it's something outside the ego. How do I from this general thing, from this present raw material, begin to make and examine discernments within it in order to reach a clarified request in such a way that it's possible to how do I, from being just an egoist and feeling that it is so, how do I further scrutinize this vessel, meaning delve into it into the roots, on the discernments 1, 2, 3 and 4 where I know exactly all the details, all things, and also I learn these qualities. And I see what's written, the light scrutinize the vessels. I have no solution with my intellect, so as to truly be able to check what this vessel is the will to receive. I can, from the perspective of psychology, ology or biology, see that it functions that way, how the cells behave. Each one wants what's best for it. It wants to swallow and to do, and the laws of nature, right, or in psychology, that's how people work. But it's not sufficient for the scrutiny of this vessel to determine that it's evil. And evil, it's not that I don't care about people starving in Africa. Evil opposite the Creator. That's what I need. So with respect to the Creator, where is that? Do I have it? So we need to something needs to be revealed to me from above, opposite which I'll feel that it's towards me, meaning that the surrounding light is mandatory here. Without it, I can't delve into what I need to delve into within my will and to check all the data there. I can't just shout that I feel bad. There are people that are so gentle. They see that you kill some fly and they're ready to kill you. It makes them feel so bad. So we're not talking about. We need discernments corresponding to the Creator, and there are none outside of the surrounding light. That factor, the surrounding light, it gives us proportions from the world to come. I understand that it's not right in front of you where you can see it and measure it and do anything about it. But that's how it is. You can see, as much as we talk about it, the person still doesn't feel that it's in his hands. You're told, oh, you lack the surrounding light. Please go ahead here, study. Then you'll get more of the surrounding light. You start studying and you forget about the surrounding light, right? There's no connection. You don't see a connection. You don't see that from that. It comes from the text that's connected to the surrounding light, right? Yes, now, the poor is the one who asks for corrections. Is a poor person someone who asks for corrections? How does he find the way to understand that what he needs is corrections? How does he know what corrections are and that he knows that he needs about? How does he know that? This is actually about a request. If a person doesn't know that he needs to ask now and he asks and he knows what he needs to ask about and who to ask it, if he doesn't know, he's not called poor. He's not poor yet. He doesn't feel himself to be poor because poor, that's the sum total of all the discernments which in total give you create that concept of the poor. Otherwise he's not before David or Moses, because they're asking for luxury, so to speak, as far as the poor seed. Yes, I want to thank you, I want to receive in order to bestow all these things. Moshe, that's, you understand, that's all of it. The poor is the beginning of the work, and at the stage of corrections, how does he know exactly what he needs to correct? How does he know it? Gradually, the surrounding light creates in him the discernments. But until it does that, the surrounding light, the person is not called poor. We still don't think about ourselves that we're poor. We have something, God bless. We can settle for it if we can settle for it. It's not so bad. And to bring us to the degree of the poor, ascents and descents, ascents and descents. And in each ascent you look, you see, what am I? I'm poor. I have, God bless, everything. And then again, you fall. And with respect to the previous ascent, you see that it's nothing. You have nothing. And so on. And this accumulates. Both these extremes needs to accumulate in ascents and descents to a sufficient quarter, let's say, form where they determine these two extremes. They will. Ye don't know, we don't understand, yet that the ascents and descents are different in category, how to say, different discernments. Each time I lose all of my assets, all of my possessions, then I rise again. Once I descend in love, I rise in love. I descend in joy, I ascend in joy. Meaning each time the ascent and descents are with respect to something different. You see, we can't distinguish it, but that's how it is. And ultimately when they all accumulate, then they bring me the right discernment between I below and him above. Student. And also they change in terms of difficulty. In terms of difficulty, of course they change in terms of difficulty. The ascent and descent change to such an extent that, well, it's written about the Rabbi of Roberts, the bolt of that during descents they would forget the alphabet. They would look at it, and there'd be such a departure of Mo that he'd be reading what is that Balak. He cannot read, you understand. We're not talking about him being unable to understand, or being in a loss of degree with him, since spiritual and corporeal degrees are addressed together. The loss of a degree simply means that there is not even the possibility of reading. He does not know these letters. He does not remember that there is such a thing as letters. On the great degrees, the gap between the degrees, this cut between them, is the departure of the moin with us. No, with us. Just as there is no life this way, there's also no life that way. It's not so bad. So, a person actually knows what correction he needs to ask for and what he's supposed to get. Yes, a person needs to know all the details of his empty vessel and exactly what its emptiness is. That is, ultimately, he needs to know what the filling that should be there is. Yes, the person who has fuel for prayer and so on, what does he use when he exits that stage? And everything's fine and he lacks nothing. There is nothing worse than a state where a person has come out of a descent into some kind of animalistic or beastly fulfillment, and thank the Creator, everything is good and fine and all right, and it's possible to just continue living like this if he has established his daily schedule and nevertheless comes and studies and everything. Then surely another blow is waiting for him somewhere along the way, right? That's clear. But if this satisfaction is so animalistic or so beastly, then he does not even return to study. What should he do? How should he use this state correctly? We talk about that in which in each and every state we need to establish our attitude toward it. Establishing our own attitude toward it is simply, how do I determine what this state is? How is how this state is connected to the goal and the state in which I am satisfied. It's very hard to come out of that. It's very hard to move oneself only by becoming incorporated with the society. Then whether you want to or not, you will begin to move because they will provide you with their deficiencies. You're in some kind of an animalistic, beastly satisfaction. But there are many people here who are in the opposite state. Yeah, in dissatisfaction, emotional, spiritual, and animalistic as well. And then you will quickly renew your vessels alone. When a person passes from one state to another by himself, the time stretches out. It's really terrible. That's terrible. It takes months for the states to change because he is alone. Yes, I don't understand this mode of operation, the lights and all this whole process. Well, even if you don't understand how it works, it works. You understand. It doesn't depend on your understanding. Depends on what you do. As an ox to the burden and as a donkey to the load. You understand. Neither the ox nor the donkey has much intellect. But if they do what's needed of them, this one for the burden and that one for the load, then everything's fine. And it's written, the ox knows its owner, right? It comes to knowing. Look from where? From an ox. From the quality of an ox. It reaches the ox. Knows its owner. Knowing it means connection. How can such a thing exist in this world? Do you see an ox knowing its owner like that? In spirituality, it really is knowledge. You don't need intellect at all. The mind disrupts. The mind doesn't disrupt. It doesn't interfere. No, nothing was created that interferes. The mind, the intellect, it doesn't interfere, but using it correctly is a problem. You need a lot of intellect in order to use that intellect correctly. Yes, again, I want the Creator to swallow. You want what does it mean to swallow? For me, for my sake, for my benefit. You want to use him for your own pleasure. You want the Creator to serve you. Yes, I want to be like him. And afterward, you somehow reach a state where you want to serve him. Right, that's it. How does this transition from one to the other happen? That is who gives you this transition. With us, this is called, really in the degrees it's called, the correction by the light of abs. It's the same desire that you wanted to enjoy. Now that same pleasure that you wanted to receive from him through it, you also want to receive that pleasure from it, but so that he will feel the pleasure from it, because he wants it. That is, you want it to happen to him that way. How can I put it? You use the same vessel, the same pleasure, the same vessel. You add an intention. You do not change the vessel itself. Your problem is that it seems to you that you're jumping into something else. But the vessel remains just as it was before. A Previously you recognized it and wanted to enjoy from him and receive from him. That's called a keeper, a shell. Now you turn it into kosher, into holiness only through the intention. There is no difference between and except the intention alone. Thus, they're called two parallel systems that exist opposite one another. It's very simple. What's missing? That the light should come from above, right? It'll shine upon me, and I jump from left to right. Simple. I have absolutely no control over it. If such an action comes from above, that's it. Yes, how can we tie this to the group? In the group I cannot receive corrections from the group. From the group I can receive only incorporation. Right? There are no lights in my friends such that I receive the measure of correction that is in them, and then I receive it. 2. No, the incorporation between us is incorporation as in the soul of Adam, Harshan. As we learn, it's incorporation in the vessels, but the more the vessels we have, the more deficiencies accumulate and become greater and demand corrections, the right things, stronger and stronger. Then the surrounding light comes from above and more quickly corrects an overall collective desire than some small individual desire. To picture to yourself that now if people are now protesting over layoffs, over jobs, over all kinds of things in the country. There were such things in the past as well, but they weren't happening among the masses. Now it reaches a state where you understand if it happens, say, to another few thousand people, the government will fall. Very simple. The quantity, the desire, inverts your whole reality. So whether one person shouting or 1,000 are shouting, it's different. That's it. How to relate to a state which isn't connected to the goal. My child is sick, or maybe there's some court case, or how to tie these to the goal. If I'm in some kind of trouble in this world, God forbid my child is sick, or I have some court case, some matter with the police, all kinds of troubles like these that give us no peace, then I need to understand that these circumstances have a purposeful form. On one hand, I must deal with them on the level of this world. Go to a lawyer, take all kinds of actions, whatever is customary to do in this world, because through these systems, the Creator has arranged from above how we need to conduct ourselves. That's one thing. Second, in all these systems, I need to see where I'm receiving this from, who I receive it, and carry out all these actions with the intention of being connected with Him. When I go to a lawyer, when I sit with a lawyer, I know that I received it from the Creator, and I received from Him, from the lawyer, the instruction to deal with it. Do a lawyer, he could be a non-Jew, secular person. It doesn't matter who or what to deal with it through him. That's it. These two things go together. This world is altogether a kind of wrapping a system in which at our degree I need to accept all the laws of this world, even laws that are not natural, the laws of natural nature certainly, because nature has the same numerical value as Elohim, as God, meaning that these are literally the Creator's actions in a direct form, but even laws, but are not laws of nature, but artificial laws made by human beings, right, the laws of the state, courts, all kinds of things. I need to use them as they are, that's it, as they are, and to understand, not to understand, but to think and to remain connected with the Creator who is inside all of that. Then nothing cancels out anything else for you, and one who runs away from it does not use what's been given to him for progress. So it's written, do not separate yourself from the public. Permission has been given to the physician to heal and all kinds of such things. I dwell among my own people. The person needs actually to use all the systems that are before him, and it's not that this finds favour in my eyes and that does not find favour in my eyes. There is no such thing. You are the one who determines it, and according to how you conduct yourself with it accordingly from above, they also give you these or those conditions and circumstances. So don't run away from these things to such an extent that Rabash found it very strange. It was not strange to him. He understood it, but it was as though, why don't people pay taxes? Why do they run away from paying income tax? Because in the spiritual form, you use the systems that exist, and that's it. Even when you're certain it's wrong, it's not a matter of whether you are Sure or not, if you do not go and directly follow all the laws, then it is as though you are not getting along with him, with the Creator who placed them before you in this way. For him, these were very serious matters. To enter a store and how much something costs when you have no intention of buying it, that was forbidden. To intend something towards someone else, that you're giving something to them, but whether it'll reach them or not. All kinds of such calculations. He would insist on such things. You can ask Fiker, his wife, as well. He required this of her too. Not that he demanded it, but he said that this is not how you do it, and this is how you do it. This integrity of his was something almost obsessive. It really seemed like you simply do not do that. You understand, I would say to him, but if you say to take an example from what happens in society, then even though in society the book says such and such people actually behave differently, so should we follow the law that is written in the book or in the book. You know, like American laws, they have laws. They're that you are not allowed to walk down the street with an elephant. You understand, and that law still exists. You understand, or something like that. So do we follow those laws, or do we follow the laws as they are today only? They forgot to write them down. That's a topic in and of itself. You have no problem with that, right? You're an honest, innocent person. Keep going. Yes, you said that our problem is that we don't remember about the surrounding light. What will it give me if I have no lack? How will remembering it help? If a person suddenly finds himself in a moment where I have no lacks, I have nothing, everything is fine, or I am kind of hazy and life just passes by. That's how we feel most of the time. We don't feel that we're in such states. Then, only the habit of becoming incorporated in the group helps habit. That brings him into all kinds of activities of the group, and then he receives a lack, and then he is renewed. Because you do not catch yourself throughout the entire day and see where you are in what internality, in what inner state. You simply pass through it like that from moment to moment, just like that, and roll along. Only the habit of becoming connected with the group, with everyone together within them, changes you. Otherwise, time simply becomes erased. It goes and goes and goes, another day and another day and another day, and you still have not received any renewal until Arishimo, a record, is renewed in you only through your own forces. When from above there is some slight change in the general light, the general system, then wait another 100 years until something comes out of it. So again I say, therefore it needs to become a habit in what we do and how we act. Everyone has some group to teach. There's a regular friends gathering. There are meals. We talk about it here. Each time all kinds of things need to be determined and established. But what influences you most is that you are in the society that influences you. Not that you go and teach someone. Not that you do some things of your own there, or even that you're doing something in the kitchen, but that you are under the influence of the friends. Under the influence of the friends. Our state could be the opposite. We have grown accustomed to being in the group, and then it's also a kind of habit. As you say, where it's always the same, there's also a habit of being in the group, right? There is a habit for everything. There are habits in spirituality too. Habit exists in spirituality too. So we need something extra. So we need to build support systems that will help me time and again and help me. Why is there specifically work in this every time? Because in this you need to renew the importance of the Creator at the end of it all. Only the importance of the Creator, where it lights up for you like a red warning light that'll compel you to perform all these actions. We are studying from the study of the tense inner light of item 20, continuing from the words extend the light. So first we'll read from the, and then we'll go into the Labash lessons. Item 20, the words of the Ali. One moment, the text doesn't say up. It was clarified that the light of Ozen expanded till the Sakin and the lights extend from there too. Also, when the light of the extended from there, it took their light. This means that the first three in them take the light from what is extended from the first look of the eye from the until their connection to the Zaken as known. They were not accepted, but only in the Sheba Zaken, because from there they begin and not from what was in Sheber, Zachan, and above, but the lower 7. Do not take, but from what is extended. From the look in the lights of Fern, below is known, because the which is the and till the, and not from, and above. Now we'll go to the lesson with Obish. He only connects them. Therefore, 3, from the middle one, and I should ask myself, I heard something new. There's a third phase which is a medium, and there's a third phase which is the difference between this and that. Is that 3 or not? So we don't attain it if in that sense it's called middle. On the one hand it receives only 2, on the other hand phase 2 on the other hand phase 3, but from the third side it doesn't add up to the third, he cannot attain it. Whereas if you have 3 then you attain the third. What does it mean through the screen? She took the path the MS. Which path does the mass have? Phase 2. So the light shines only through phase 2. Now if we say that there was a coupling in the sag called not for itself, but where was it done in the sagar? You find that from the anime downward it's called the goof, the body like the goof, in the from the P and below of gar you find that the light passes there through, the meaning it already took, through the, and it's already called not. Head as he says below, they're also the same, what's the same? They have and I'm there, you find it through there it takes there, way where they are already below the MS. You find that as I say these are called goof and the goof of is called mat, emanating who? Likewise these which are already the phase of goof are called emanator of their world of Nekodem. Of Gagarter it's called the goof, and 4/3 that emerges now on the coupling. Clothing for over 3 and Gargar is called, it's called lights that precede the vessels, meaning the wash of ablight, the roots of the vessels when does it attain its vessels from the below, and with ability receive the coupling that is done in the pair of they are already. These are the lights of the goof, and the lights of, this is what I say, and what are you asking about this to be records? You find that if I ask myself what is the difference between 4 and 3 that are in, between 4 and 3, 4/3, that he has in its H and goof. One is goof. H means still having no vessels, and goof means having vessels. H is called lights preceding the vessels, no attainment in the hash. Whereas, fern and below of Galter, that there is the goof of. Besides this no, that's the only way we can discern the results of it, we have to learn, but that's the difference. Here, it means that the 4/3 that there are in Gargar, meaning 4/3 that there is an I. We learned mal of the upper level is greater than the lower level, so of their level of Ketcher is higher than Ketcher of the level of, so I'm asking if of the level of that there is an ab in is higher than mal of the level of that there is in. It's the same level. What are you asking? Could it be otherwise if I'm from malhood of Garter it's higher than mal of the level of Ketcher, higher than the kettle of the level of. Let's put it otherwise. Mal of phase 4 of the level of phase 4 is higher than ket of the level of phase 3. That was earlier in Gala. What is written above? Second line. The first 3 in them take light from what is extended, from the looking of the iron in the from their place to the place where they connect to the Zachan. So we learn as it says here below. You already know that 3 phases are discerned in each, which are regarded as the light of the anime and the coupling that was in the light of the anime. On 4 of clothing, 2 of clothing, and 3 of clothing, and 2 of conus we make 2 discernments, 3 discernments. 2 discernments and goof are discerned in the 10 of wash itself. We divide into 2 phases which are to the and to the goof. This is because of the second restriction, so it's called goof already. And phase 3, third discernment is the actual goof even, because of the roots of one which is the first restriction. They are also regarded as goof, as was explained about the of the Dickner, and in the same way the Nekodem are divided. Now he begins to explain to us the first phase of, which is, in meaning the row is the 10 spirit of, the row is called Israel's Saber, and its place is above the taboo up to the says about it all the light that is extended down to taboo, even though it are in with its respect. It's all swallowed and incorporated in aim. Look and you'll see how they are. Emphasizes that even though it's from the phase of aim, meaning that it emerged on a coupling that was in a which is the second restriction, it is still regarded as aim and not as im. The reason is that the coarseness in the screen does not operate at all where it operates from below upwards. And since that yes is the actual row of Nicodim, meaning the garter and I, at the screen of their common coarseness from phase 2 and phase 4 stands below the neck of, which is the place of the point of taboo. Therefore, there is no recognition of their association with phase 4 in it. Therefore it's regarded as aim like sag, in which it is not apparent in huma in sag, but only phase 2 of coarseness, and there's no recognition of the coarseness of in it which makes there on the 4 coarseness below tabak, which caused the second restriction. He says that it was swallowed and incorporated in aim, and is therefore not apparent. And now we explain the first phase of, which is called, and is incorporated in aim, although it emerged on the coarseness of phase 1, and the second phase of the is the phase of the come out of the rush and are considered its goof, since they are receiving and clothe the light that it is extended from. The second phase of the meaning it's called, which means that it's a place of the gathering of the lights of the place they were extended called, and here it's already called. And remember that, and know that these external that their source is in the phase of and of meaning the and adding the of the first, but only by receiving the light of a name they came out of the rush and became goof. That's why they are called the G of Nicodim as the second rush, compared to Jish, which is called the first rush. This second rush is the rush of Nikim, called in general Gal of Nikim, which are Ket, and the first, which is your suit, is considered aim and notic. He explains what the said, that the third light is when it descends and expands the light of a below through. It observes the lights of a, and from there it takes light in order to make the vessels of. It takes the 3 lights which are. So what is the second restriction? Just like in the first restriction, the place of the zoo is the P. The lower one receives from P and below. Here in Nicodim, that the coupling was in the anime, it receives from the P, from the anime and below N, and he adds that as we learn, that in Sag, there is already called the G. Also, in the world of Nicodim that came out of that place, also there the is called, and he even adds, and says that those, he wants to point out that they didn't make any ending on there. That's why he hints about in the cell, if the he divides the degree that the lower one never clothes from the place of the coupling and above called the of, so where can the lower one receive from P below, and here it's from our N, and below called the Dickon. So then I know that as we learned that, abs from the P and below of garter, also it receives from the of the who the world of Nicodim. Afterwards he explains another point, that this light that extended from the anime, that the lower one receives it the world of Nicodine, when it receives from the divide into 3 parts, that come from the first restriction is still, only from the second restriction is called of, from the sat of even the first restriction is also called goof. These cells that the go of need to receive from the same light that descended below divides it there came out of the of that came below the world of to receive it. If the first of his gets the actual of, called the 3 first corrections from the place that they come out and below from own below the upper lip and the on the upper lip. Afterwards he mentions the of the, which is below the P and corporality. We see that it's still considered the. He thinks only the goof because of the second restriction. 3. The lower 7 of Nicodim receive from an upper area, and the lower area that were even of the first restriction. We are continuing the study with friends, studying the article the mutual guarantee by am. We're going to read in the writings of. Today we're going to read item 22. Before that we're going to read item 21, because 22 is a continuation of 21. So, again going to read, in the writings of Balasam, the article the mutual guarantee item 21. Just to say a couple of words about what we went through. Our last lesson was 2 weeks ago. So in items 19 and 20, Bissam talks about 2 angles, 2 approaches, 2 perspectives. The approach of Lazal son of Abishim, who says it's not enough that all of Israel are responsible for one another, but that the whole world should enter where mutual responsibility. And then in item 21, talks about a very clear statement. He says the world is judged by its majority, meaning that providence doesn't consider one person. There's no consideration of individuals, but of everyone together. The apolitics tends to all of humanity as one system on one hand. On the other hand, explains that there's a division and order of correction, and the role of the Israeli nation is to prepare to pave the way for all of humanity to correct the intention from in order to receive to in order to bestow. And then he says that although the Creator does not take one person into consideration, but one person can sentence the world to the side of merit or fault. And he talks about the famous example we know about the sesame seeds, meaning each sesame seed that a person adds can shift the weight to the side of merit or fault. In a few words, it's what we said before. Of course, there are a lot more here, but in order to just get back to things now, we're going to read items 21 and 22. We already read 2 weeks ago, but I'm guessing that we don't really remember what it's out. Let's read 21 and 22 and then we'll listen to Rob's words. So, let's begin by reading in the 10 item. 21. Self-love will certainly prevail, and they will refuse to assume his burden. All right, friends. So we read items 21 and 22. In item 22 there's something very meaningful that talks about one sinner destroys much good. Let's watch clip number 3 in which explains this topic, and we'll continue from there. Clip number 3. When he says that one sinner will lose a lot of good because he can overcome his petty lust, he pushed the spirituality of the whole world backwards. So who is that sinner? You, for example. Okay, what is that petty lust, and how could it be? It doesn't matter what reason, but if you disconnect from the society, from their friends, from having to cause them only contentment and good, and pray for them that they will be rewarded with everything they need from the Creator. As we said yesterday, were you there yesterday? You were. Oh, you were with us, but not here. All right. So yesterday we said that the cleanest plea of a person which is really in order to bestow. What is the prayer? What is the plea? To ask the Creator to help the friends, to connect them and correct them, and that he will get contentment from this, or that he will be revealed within them, which causes him contentment, meaning I pray for them that from them a corrected vessel will emerge, and the Creator will be revealed in that vessel, and that brings him contentment. So well, that's how we work. Yes, so who are those sinners? It's us, the whole world. No, it's we us. No, the whole world. No, no one in the world is a sinner. Only we, only those who have the ability, who is brought to a place and are told, take this from that moment on, now you are accountable. They open the account for you in the store. That's it. You are either in debt or you pay on the spot. That's your decision. You can deposit in advance some amount. What does it mean to sin? What does it mean, a sinner? And what am I sinning? What does it mean, the word sin? It comes from the word sin. I came and studied. What does it mean that I sin? Sin means in order to receive. What sin when I come and study? What am I doing? I'm falling, rising. But what sin can I do here between the friends? You were given a chance to connect with them, right? To do some work, to make them connect, to make the create, to give the Creator a place to be revealed and enjoy, and you're not doing it. If you, because you're not doing what you should, are causing harm to them and to the Creator. This is called a sinner. I need to understand what it means that I'm supposed to do when I come here. I'm studying. I do everything I need to do. No. Studying here is learning how to connect. Learning how to connect. That's what we're learning. We learned it in, and I was learning it in the. We must be connected in a network as it comes to us from above. We have to do the same from below, and by this we will complete our correction. Okay, let's have a workshop. How can we help each other to not be sinners? How will we help each other to not be sinners? 6 minutes. How do we help each other not be sinners? To ask for the friends and not for myself. Right, friends, within very sharp explanation, we heard this statement. The cleanest plea of a person which is really in order to bestow is to ask the Creator to help the friends to connect them and correct them, and that he will derive contentment from this. I pray for them, that from them the corrupted vessel will emerge, and the Creator will be revealed in that vessel, and this brings him contentment. Let's try to keep this thought now, and let's hear another explanation by clip number 5. In both the last 2 paragraphs of what we just read, Balasam writes that the sinner takes the sesame of the sea of the friends and takes them off the scale of merit. So understand that the sinner who does it is me by not investing enough in the 10. Question: how can I convince myself, or what should affect me at least to not take away? I'm not even saying to add, but not to take away. Each time, incorporate yourself more and more with what writes and talk about it with the friends, and in this way try. I have nothing to say here. It's work in the heart. The more you think about it, the more you'll be able to realize it. In the last paragraph, it said, since he couldn't overcome his petty lust, he pushed the spirituality of the whole world backwards. What's that overcoming those petty lusts? This is all. It is all the thoughts in order to receive that disconnect you from the work in the group. When you don't think about the friends, or you think about them less than about yourself, the most important is the connection to bring the Creator like this. The connection between us, so he will be revealed and will be happy. That's it. We cannot overcome each and every one. Of course, why do you think that there is one? I'm saying that there is everyone who are postponing the spiritual advancement, good connection between people, the right approach to life and to the Creator. They are immersed in their own personal love, egoistic, and moreover, they want because of it to harm others, and that's the revelation of the evil that is in the common of Adamish, which is now being revealed one opposite the other, and the more we advance toward the end of correction, these problems will grow one opposite the other, and wars, hatred, repulsion, rejection that will be revealed as we approach the end of correction will be very big, as much the more the will to receive is revealed correspondingly. There is the revelation, the appearance of all the problems, but we will get through it. Don't think about that. Think about what we need to do here and now. That's it. Or a person can't correct his incorporation with all the billions of this world, and who knows all other souls that aren't in this world. So what's charge he was given to correct? He was given to correct the incorporation with all the souls all over the world. Precisely. But I'm not in contact with all those souls. You don't need to be connected to them physically. We won't be connected physically even with our own tents. You'll see what the Creator will do.